Hello, and welcome everyone to our today's webinar about e-commerce visual trends in 2024. I'm Aleksandra, Experience Marketing Lead here at Pixelz, and I will be your host for today. Today, we have prepared a new format of the webinar for you. We've brought together 5 experts that will be presenting their hottest and most impactful trends that they think will impact the industry the most in the year to come. But before I invite our first presenter here on this virtual stage with me, I actually would like to hear from all of you in the chat what, in your opinion, is going to rule the e-commerce visual industry in the next year. Is it video? Is it generative AI? Or maybe is it user-generated content or something completely different? Please type away in the chat. Let me know what your thoughts are. It can be just one word or 2 letters, like AI, for example, full-on sentence. And while you're typing, in my perspective, and I'm privileged to work with so many amazing professionals in the industry as a part of our Flow events, obviously, AI is something that will probably continue to be top of mind in the next year. But also, I feel like there is a trend of blending the visuals and the content that is created for e-commerce websites with the social media content because of the influence that TikTok and Instagram and other social media platforms have on us. So this is maybe something else to look into. And let me see what you're sharing here. Yeah, JJ, agree with you. France, visual content derived from 3D. Yeah, 100%. Well, I'm not going to do a sneak peek into what our presenters are going to share, but I feel like there might be some overlap in your thoughts and in what you're about to hear. Well, for all of our presenters, please ask them questions in the chat, and even if they can't address them while being here live on the screen, they will make sure to type their answers back to you in this chat. So type away, ask them, let's make it conversational, let's make it exciting. And since we have only 28 minutes left in this webinar, it's my pleasure to invite on this virtual stage together with me, our first presenter, our own content marketing manager, Pamela Kunkel. And Pamela has joined Pixelz in 2021. And before that, she's been working with tech startups in Copenhagen. Since she joined Pixelz, she's been bridging the gap between creativity and tech through amazing content, interviewing industry leaders and exploring and researching trends, and also maintaining everything you can see on our website isn't Pamela's day-to-day work. And also, Pamela is the person behind our annual e-commerce visual trends report that has been released today, and you are going to get the first copy of it right after the webinar. So Pamela, please join me on stage. Really excited to hear from you and hear the insights from the report.
Thank you so much, Aleksandra. I'm so excited to share everything we have today. So,
fire away.
Yeah, obviously everyone will get the report later, but here's a sneak peek of what we have to say. So number 1, video. So this was actually in our report last year as well, but we just felt like we've been hearing so much more in the past year about tangible ways to make video possible on PDP that we had to include it again. And it is just such a win for the consumer as well. It speaks to the massiveness of TikTok and Reels, and it really meets the consumer where they're at with their attention span and what they're interested in, showing all the details of the product. So we really think we're just going to see video continue to grow in the next year. All right, number 2. Our next one is a very big one. It is AI. Surprise. We know this is a big, bold statement to just say AI, but 2023 has really felt like the year of talking a lot about AI. And I feel like we're going to see this shift in 2024 to actually figuring out how AI fits into our everyday work, into our workflow. How do we create content alongside AI. And we saw this, so we sent out a survey for this e-commerce visual trend report. And that is the response that we got on the survey when asking how they see AI fitting in. A lot of people were not quite sure yet. The survey went out this year. They knew it was going to be a part of their life. They're not sure yet. So that's why we really think 2024, we're going to see the ways in which AI fits into our workflows. So that was the big one. And the last trend, number 3, we are calling technology-assisted content. So we really focused on 3D and generative AI within this theme. Especially for 3D, I think we've seen maybe the tipping point of 3D generated content now reaching that point of being very realistic, really beautiful, and easier and cheaper to create with access to tech tools and the talent needed to create 3D assets. And generative AI also fits under this tech-assisted content that we have as the third trend. I think we're really, generative AI, if we think about where we started 2023 to where we are now, it has changed a lot and it is moving fast. So we really think that in the coming year, we're really going to see how it plays out on the PDP, whether that's background replacement, even the written content. We're going to see a lot more of that coming out on the product detail page. So this was a sneak peek of our trends. So you'll get the report. It's got an overview of these trends that we've outlined, as well as just some more insights into the industry, some survey responses that we've got, and standards within product images. So hope you enjoy.
Yeah, well, thank you, Pamela, so much for kind of setting the scene here with this 3 core trends. And I'm excited to see if they will overlap with what our next presenters have to say. Thank you so much. We have to move on, and it's time to present our next speaker. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you, though I don't think even the introduction is needed, Jason Hamilton. Jason is an established image and operations expert and has vast experience in content creation sphere. During his career, he established studio operations in 5 different countries. So we're talking about truly global experience here. And of course, Jason is a trusted advisor and mentor to so many in the community. With this, Jason, it's my pleasure to invite you here on the stage to join me.
Thanks, Aleksandra. Really looking forward to it.
Yes, me too. Take it away. Next 5 minutes are all yours.
I think I agree with most of the comments that I'm seeing come through, and also what Pamela said is, key to what's happening, I think, currently, and then also what we're looking at for next year. I've seen a shift out of the conversations coming out of kind of AI and generative AI specifically, where there's a lot of movement, particularly in the post-production area, where people are talking about creating models and creating digital models so that, there's kind of workarounds with, like, you can use those images without usage rights and things like that. So I think I'm seeing an increase in that, people discussing it, people trying to understand how to get it done and how to do it in the first place. I think there is an increase in machine learning and that technology where things are being placed. So it's either those digital people are being placed, into garments, or garments are being placed onto, or CGI created garments are being placed onto real people that are being photographed. So there's kind of like a switch between that. That's kind of really exciting to see what's happening in that marketplace. And then I think generally, and contrary to that, I think that there's a real push towards, and I think somebody made mention it in the comments, that there's a push towards authenticity as well. So there's a really huge push towards, you know, AI, what that can mean, and generative AI. And then there's a push in the complete opposite direction, which is like, how can we keep things authentic? How can we keep that authenticity in place? How can we have, I guess, the public and the marketplace understand that this is, let's say, real? And I'm seeing that in a couple of clients where they are talking about brand experiences within studio, which I know Kevin Mason's a really big proponent of, and spoke about that a couple of years ago at a Flow event, where studios are becoming really brand centric, and that you know, they're becoming a more of a kind of hub for the brand rather than being like in back of house or in a distribution center. They're kind of coming to the forefront so that influencers or celebrities or whoever can actually like come into that place. It's very brand specific, and it, you know, you can create like a lot of content that's related to your brand in those environments. So that's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And in particular, that kind of the contrarian forces, right, into the AI and this fully artificially generated content, and at the same time, full authenticity, no retouching, raw life as it is, basically. That is also very interesting.
Yeah.
Something brought to mind what has been shared at recent Flow event as well, about maybe generative AI is an instrument to push the creativity, to make something completely not looking like real, but still absolutely amazing and visually appealing, yet at the same time producing authentic content that requires to be behind it. So that's definitely something that is interesting to observe. And
yeah, I think both boundaries are being pushed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in both directions,
both boundaries
right?
are kind of being pushed, and yeah, it's kind of an interesting place and a fun place to be at the moment.
Yeah. And do you have maybe any example of someone who is already doing it, someone we could all look up to?
I think the presentation by Meta Mason at the last New York Flow event was a really interesting. It was amazing imagery, you know, and I think they're kind of working on both sides of that aspiration, where it's something that is sort of, I guess, like outworldly, that doesn't really exist, that you can kind of tell that it's not real. And then the other flip of what they're doing is creating content that you can't really tell that it's not real. So that's, I guess, on that side of things, in terms of AI, I think the brand experience from the clients that I'm talking to, it's still kind of in its infancy. It's people that are redoing their studios at the moment. It's people that are talking about creating those environments within head offices and things like that, or flagship stores that want to understand how they can create a space that's brand specific. Yeah, so I mean, Kevin's probably got some other examples of people that are really doing it, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'll leave
and
it
I
there.
imagine you're referring to Kevin Mason.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin
Catch
Mason.
Kevin Mason
Yeah.
at Flow London next week. A little advertising over here. Well, Jason, I wish we had more time to talk, but it's time for us to move on to our next presenter. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for sharing. There are a few questions for you in the chat, so please come back. And yeah, if you have questions for Jason, just go ahead and type it away. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And our next presenter is Ginai Liverman, studio operations and creative expert. Ginai is a true leader in the world of creative operations and digital content marketing. She has worked with various brands, currently working with Macy's, and her expertise spans a vast area of skills, from budgeting, strategy to supply chain management, and at the same time, creative content and telling compelling stories. Ginai, welcome to the stage. Excited to hear what you have to say and what you see as the most impactful trend in the year to come?
Good morning, Aleksandra. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. Yeah, take it away.
Okay. Okay. So I pretty much, what I foresee echoes what both Pamela and Jason were just speaking to. So I do have some talking points. So excuse me if I'm a little long-winded. I'll try to wrap this up and sum it up all to be succinct as possible. But basically, just follow along here with me while I just go ahead and talk you through what I'm thinking. So, thank you. So, undoubtedly, the integration of AI-driven analytics will shape the future of customer conversion in many industries, particularly in the realm of e-commerce. And at present, we find ourselves in the proof of concept phase for this transformative technology. However, before I delve deeper into this topic, let us first explore some numbers that demonstrate how businesses view the relationship between customer data and AI as catalysts for enterprise reinvention. Not surprisingly, 97% of C-suite executives believe that generative AI will be transformative to their companies and industries, while 67% of organizations plan to increase their level of spending on technology with priority on investments in data and AI. Furthermore, 56% of clients cite data readiness as top challenges to adapting AI. Therefore, I propose that the top visual trend for e-commerce in 2024 and beyond will be fueled by first-party data and interactive shopping experiences utilizing 3D modeling, animated video content, and hyper-personalization. This innovative concepts, can be achieved through data collected using augmented reality and virtual reality visual shopping tools. Why first-party data, you may ask? Well, with the elimination of third-party cookie tracking by advertisers and a growing demand for increased privacy, regulations have now forced Google to follow in the footsteps of big browsers like Safari and disabled their third-party tracking on Chrome. Previously, this set the stage for web browsers to allow for hyper-personalized retargeting across different websites, creating e-commerce curated shopping experiences through paid advertising and sponsor content, as we know. However, we take a look at platforms like TikTok, Alexandria mentioned them in the beginning, that can tend to gain traction over Facebook and Instagram in terms of market and mind share as leaders of interactive platforms, which rely more on organic posts and creativity by site visitors rather than paid advertising. We see that brands are being forced to rethink their advertising strategies and find smart ways to engage with their core customers and potentially convert sales with new ones. Furthermore, we see that content marketing that focuses on quality targeting and attracting a very specific audience with the type of content published can be effective in building and cultivating a community, informing and entertaining customers, and giving them a sense of ownership in a brand. This leads to brands expanding their digital footprints and further solidifying their customer base. At the forefront of the AR, VR tools revolution, we find the heart of my discussion today. The usefulness, of investing in data-driven e-commerce that is AI-powered personalization to create shopping platforms for interactive shopping windows and ultimately digital communities of the future. One prime example of this is LinkedIn Navigator or Sales Navigator, a subscription-based arm of the app that utilizes organic first-party data collected from site visitors to help sales professionals and marketing teams reach the right decision makers or communities. During my recent visit to LinkedIn's New York offices for their Deep Sales Day, I had the privilege of previewing this tool with their test speakers and was blown away by its power. This ultimately shaped my opinion on how digital experiences will shape the e-commerce shopping experience of the future. When we consider the current AR, VR capabilities that are transforming the retail industry for what is termed immersive shopping, that's like the buzzword now, right? We see that hardware overlays of digital real-time 3D animation using mobile AR, the most common form of AR, allows users to view content in their smartphones and superimpose visuals on their surrounding environments. Additionally, web AR operates similarly, to mobile AR, but it does not require standalone apps and instead works directly via the mobile phone's browser, producing AR experiences as easily as any other web page. Furthermore, 3D modeling, and 360 animated video content technology from companies like Covision are driving this trend forward. After meeting and speaking with Covision CEO Franz at the recent Flow New York event, he gave me a demo of their mobile AR tool that convinced me immersive and interactive shopping technology generated by organically fed first-party data is the future. This technology will build social commerce-like communities that are setting the precedents for convenient and engaging shopping experiences that today's fickle customers demand. To sum this all up, it's up to our industry to determine how we will upskill our creative teams to transition from traditional product photography and video produced content to interactive, engaging, immersive shopping, metaverse type experiences. This trend is here to stay, and we must embrace it to succeed in the e-commerce world of the future.
Mic drop over here. Yeah,
Okay.
well, thank you so much, Ginai. Definitely something to think about, and kind of expansion of the vision, I guess, beyond the studio and thinking more on a business-wide strategy over here. So that has been great, and a lot more to talk about on that topic, I'm sure. But as usual, unfortunately, I have to say goodbye to you. But thanks a lot for joining us and sharing your insights. Ask Ginai questions in the chat or on LinkedIn. And our next presenter of today is Rich Summers, CTO and co-founder of LetsFlo. Rich has a background in engineering, product management, and has been a part of BBC team before venturing into the world of fashion and lifestyle. And at LetsFlo, Rich leads the company and product's vision and roadmap. And overall, Rich's passion in the fashion world revolves around collaborating with industry professionals and unlocking their productivity potential. Rich, exciting to see you here on the stage and hear what you have to say.
Hello. Hi, Aleksandra. Hello from London. Nice to see you.
Hello.
Looking forward to welcoming lots of you next week.
Can't
Brilliant.
wait.
Awesome.
Go ahead.
I want to talk about, so obviously the whole technology side of what's happening in the industry is amazing, but I want to take a kind of a counter stance to that about keeping it real. So in recent years, we've obviously witnessed this remarkable rise of user-generated content coming from social media. And I think this is changing the landscape for e-com marketing content. I think it's driving it towards a more authentic, a more genuine, and actually driving it towards a more realistic angle. But what is driving this push towards authenticity feels like it's a blend of consumer fatigue with traditional advertising. It's that quest for relatability and this desire for trust, because we live in a world of complete misinformation at the moment. Hello AI, all of this stuff going on. There's even apps like Be Real, which really emphasize authenticity. I think it's clear that consumers are now expecting the same level of genuineness from e-com brands. A really good example of this is the recent surge of content on TikTok, where users are critiquing and comparing the online shopping experience with reality. You've got videos showcasing the stark contrast between the marketed image and the actual product. And this stuff is gaining substantial traction at the moment. This highlights, the community's call for realism in online retail. There's a desire for a shopping experience that is free from the unexpected surprises when that product actually hits the doorstep. So we think the strategy counter towards the technology that's going on at the moment is really about keeping it real. This goes beyond just having clear images. It's about creating that narrative around the product that resonates with the everyday experiences of consumers. Brands, they should ensure their product images, of course, are clear, well lit, color correct, and true to life. That's the base level, of course, we should all be reaching for. But really, we should also be thinking about incorporating really good video to showcase different angles, showing the product in motion, showing the stress and wave of the fabric, and really help customers gain a more realistic understanding of the product. Honesty about the product benefits and limitations can significantly enhance consumer trust and drive down that dreaded return rate. So demonstrating how the product works in the real world scenarios is a real critical step. If it's a bag, show it being packed, packed for a weekend away, packed for an evening, packed to go on the tube. Take it past the high street and fashion style. Show the versatility of things like straps and how it could be worn in multiple ways. Practical and pragmatic demonstrations, they help customers visualize the item's role in their daily lives. And it's really compelling when it's portrayed through the user or customer generated content. You can utilize that authentic voice from the customer base. In terms of styling, it's obviously vital to cater for a variety of lifestyles and body types. This means curating looks that go beyond the high street fashion scene. E-com brands, they can showcase products in different settings through influencer content, campaign images and lookbooks that reflect that diverse customer base. This context is really key in all of this. It helps customers visualize the product's place in their own lives. Cool. So I'm going to keep it short because we know we've got another fantastic talk. But as we head into 2024, it's really important that the landscape for e-commerce is not just evolving. I really think it's deepening. It's going deeper into this, and consumers are demanding more than just products. They're seeking connections and they're seeking honesty. And brands that embrace this, keeping a real trend by providing clear, honest images and videos, tangible product demonstrations, versatile styling inspiration, and leverage that user content. Remember, these models are free because they're posting on Instagram. We all enjoy that. For authentic engagement, these are the brands that are poised to build a stronger relationship with their audience. It's not just about selling a product, it's about cultivating a community rooted in trust. I think that's something we all want to be part of in 2024.
Thank you so much. The consumer inside of me was like, yes, I really want to see the real images. I need to know how this dress looks because I still have 2 more packages that I need to return, and because of all my travel, get back to like post office because it didn't look the way it was on the image. Like it looked gorgeous there when I put on. No, it doesn't. So thank you so much. This trend already felt like a breath of fresh air. So something to think about in the world of AI. Well, thank you so much, Reach, and thank you for bringing in the fireworks to our webinar. That's amazing. Thank you, and see you next week. If anybody is coming to London and wants to talk real authenticity, Reach is going to be there next week. Brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, and we are almost at the end of our webinar, but we've got last, definitely not least, presenter of the day. Perrie Schad, creative operations consultant with more than 20 years of experience in the photo industry that has unique viewpoint, and as someone who has worked on set as a photographer, digital tech director, producer, as an external talent, but also running in-house studios, Perrie has absolute immense experience and viewpoint at the industry. And Perrie specializes as a consultant in evaluating and modernizing the photo production workflow and onboarding and implementing technology systems. And I also know Perrie for her amazing fashion choices for in-person events. So if you're in LA next week, please take a photo of Perrie on stage because I need to see the outfit. Welcome, Perrie.
Thank you, Aleksandra. What an epic introduction. I wish I'd recorded that one.
We have recorded that. You will get the recording of it.
Excellent. So I know that we are running a little behind on schedule, so I might go through this a little bit quickly unless Aleksandra's
You're good.
Here.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Let's do this. All right, cool. So I'm not going to say anything groundbreaking compared, to everybody else's insights and input and everything. So I'm just going to kind of back up what they were saying as well. Because if you know me, you know I love data too. So I really do think that we have not seen the end of AI yet. It's less of a complete overhaul and more of like, how do you implement realistic functionality? 81% of 1,700 global software buyers in a survey said that they are looking at software that have AI capabilities. So this is obviously something that's here to stay, but I don't necessarily think that it's going to be the big wow overhaul that we kind of were expecting probably about 6 or 7 months ago. So The lack of regulations, the cost, the sustainability concerns are all growing more and more. And I think that we are starting to move away from, again, these sweeping changes and really starting to look at tools that we either already have or are currently looking at that are updating their features to leverage AI. So I don't think that people are doing specific investments on AI specifically, but they are looking at tools that are incorporating them as well. But ultimately, the big question right now is, where does it go? Where does it make sense to have AI fit into the workflow? And I think that a lot of 2023 has been focused on that process, which is why we have seen a significantly quiet year, as much as we all have hated it. A lot of things, a lot of conversations are happening internally. So, people are overstimulated from the recent tech boom, especially over the last few years, bringing everything in-house and the idea of collaboration. And again, with the just exceptionally slow year, I think that people are really taking a breather and evaluating their internal needs. The rest of this year is going to look, and then kind of going into next year, companies are looking into not these large purchases, but something that is more aligned and is clear on their. Let me rephrase that. So until they're aligned, they are going to be looking at a more clear strategy of how they want to move forward. And that doesn't just include AI, as we have seen from the previous amazing speakers, as well as our comments section. That is also 3D modeling, CGI, AR, and VR, with the personalization and hyper-personalization being a consumer trend for both e-commerce and m-commerce. Brands will continue to work through what AI technology, all of these amazing new features, really means to them. And I think it could definitely change. I think Rich definitely summed up a lot of, I wish I had like a solid mic drop for Rich's statement, besides I wish that I need some fireworks here too. I think that we're all ready for a change of pace. And I think that might actually happen towards the second half of the year. I'm hoping to see that companies are starting to pick up and invest more in the future. Again, this is 23 has been a level set year. We are also, sorry, Rich's emoji that just popped up. So we're also looking at ways to gather and analyze data. So this is a lot of the technology that's happening on the back end. We ultimately want to be able to provide a better customer experience and improve the bottom line, which of course took a significant hit for a lot of companies this year. And of course, thank you, Aleksandra. As Rich talked about, with trust, a part of that is also a focus on sustainability. And a lot of the consumers these days, especially Gen Z, that's a number one priority for them, is sustainability and being environmentally conscious, whether that is a brand or a process or even technology. AI costs a ton of money, whether that is housing it as well as using it. So brands are looking to minimize their carbon footprint. And that will impact things digitally and physically. With 20 to 30% of purchases being returned, brands are leaning into more authentic content. And I know that authentic is kind of that latest buzzword, but we are looking at more accurate sample information that's being provided to customers, as well as obviously minimizing retouching, using 3D modeling to create kind of worlds that don't necessarily exist, but are actually more true to what we're accustomed to seeing as well. So I don't know. To wrap this up, I think, looking at 2024, frankly, I just think that we're going to be in for a wild ride. I think that after 23, we want some change, we want some movement, but I think that we're actually going to be smart about it, and we're going to see a slower kind of Q1, maybe Q2. But diving into it when people are ready to start investing, I think we'll start seeing something hopefully around summertime. If not, I'm hoping that Q4 is really when it pops off. So that's what I have.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Perrie. Definitely a great roundup and pulling together all of these different trends. Well, we all hope for probably a more active and more buzzy next year. Hopefully not till Q4. But let's see what the next year brings, and let's see how precise our predictions were about that. So next year at the same time, we're going to meet again and see how well it all worked out and what is coming up next year. Well, thank you so much, Perrie, and everyone. If you're going to Henry Stewart in LA next week, Perrie's going to be there, so catch up with her, talk about what else to come. in the next year. With this, we are done with our today's webinar with the content. I hope you enjoyed. I know that I really enjoyed it, and with such a dynamic format with 5 amazing presenters with so much knowledge and different thoughts shared in here. A lot to think about, a lot to consider. And let's not finish the conversation over here. If you got inspired, if you have some thoughts around what is trending, go ahead, share it on LinkedIn, tag our presenters, tag Pixelz, and let's continue that conversation. Let's get more people involved, and it will be very exciting to see what is brewing, what is going to impact e-commerce visuals in 2024. With this, thank you so much. Have a great day wherever you are, and I hope to see some of you in London next week, and if not, somewhere else around the world or online at our next webinar. Thank you so much, and goodbye.